Hey everybody, this is Evan with Let's Do This. Do you have a leaky drain pipe in your bathtub? Do you want to do it yourself? Let's do this. I'm going to take out, you should have an access panel in the front of your tub if it's a rough-in bathtub. Make sure to wear gloves and a mask when you're dealing with fiberglass. This stuff gets really itchy. If you even have gloves that go up to your elbows, or wear some long sleeve shirts, because I'm telling you, when you're digging around in there, if it gets around on your forearms or your elbows, you're going to feel it. So this is the typical setup for a rough-in bath, the plumbing. So you can buy that whole kit, and then you don't have to worry about what I'm going to do is piece out the washers and those nuts. So I'm having leaking from my bathtub whenever the drain's out. My smoke alarm started going off downstairs, and I ran down there. There's water pouring out of my smoke alarm. So I had to run upstairs, plug the tub. The only thing I could think of, obviously, is it's coming out of these drain pipes. So lo and behold, I got through the access panel, opened it up, and there's water coming out of both of these. It's not suspended, so over time they kind of sagged until water started coming out the top. So I'm checking the seals, seeing if these things are cracked or worn. First thing I tried to do was tighten them all. I could pretty much loosen them all by hand, so they weren't very tight. So first thing I do is check them all, checked for cracks. Take a breath. It's not leaking actively. The tub is plugged. You have time. Don't go ahead and call a plumber right away. That's going to cost you $500 to $1,000. I mean, let's do this. So checking all the seals. Mine seemed, like I said, a little loose. I could wiggle that bottom pipe. It's all 1.5 inch. Now I'm using my camera on my phone to actually get underneath the floorboards and look at what we have going on here. It looks like it is suspended a little bit by the bigger wastewater pipe there, and it goes through. That's probably connects to my sink. And there's other boxes and stuff in there from whoever did the plumbing, just left the boxes to the old drains and stuff in my walls. So that was nice. This is really wiggly. Whoever did my plumbing, I don't know, probably get a C-. So I'm showing you I did fix it. Kind of. It's still getting wet, but it's not dripping all over the place. So obviously I'm going to want to get new washers in there. So it's getting a little wet coming out the top. So I go ahead and undo everything again. I had it real tight this time, so I had to get a wrench on there and loosen them up this time. And even getting them super tight, they still leaked. So I just think the washers were worn out. So I take them out so I can bring them to Home Depot, get the right size, and I end up getting new ones, putting those in, and it fixed it. So hang in with me here. We want to take out this whole assembly. Remember take pictures, take a video so you remember how it all goes back together, because it's a bit of a puzzle. And hopefully your access hole is this big. I have a panel that was covering it, so I just couldn't take off my panel. Otherwise, if you have to cut a hole in your wall to get to your bathtub, I mean, either you're going to do it or the plumber is going to do it. Either way, it has to get done, right? And even if you're not comfortable with it, maybe even taking that bit out of the wall will save you a little bit of money if you end up having to call a plumber. But I figure with DIY stuff, you might as well give it a try. Especially when it comes to wastewater pipes like this, it's not like you're going to make it much worse. That bottom, how it goes down, that U traps water in there so it keeps the smell from the pipes or air coming up through it. So it is full of water. So just make sure when you get this bottom trap out that you don't tip it, because then you're going to tip all the water out of it. Thankfully, when it leaked, I got a fan in there, and I had that run for a day and a half, and it dried it all out, so I didn't have to worry about mold. Kind of kept an eye on it. I had that towel there just in case when I pulled this pipe out, when I tipped it, it didn't go on the sheetrock. Because that sheetrock is to my ceiling, obviously, in the basement. So you don't want to get that wet, because otherwise it's going to discolor your ceiling downstairs. This is a long pipe that they had sleeved in there, so I really had to work it on out of there. I had to get this bottom part down and off first,
water,
and then I could pull that pipe all the way out. And I've heard, I don't know why, but white to black typically isn't a good thing with PVC pipe. You can't bond them, or I don't know. I just heard that that's not a good thing, so
replace that.
it's another mark against the plumber that did my house. I ended up just not even worrying about that. I put the new washers in there, tightened it all up like I said, and it works. So here I gotta take everything apart just so I can make sure I bring all the washers in and get the right sizes. I'm wiggling it in, wiggling it out. I mean, the whole pipe was pulling, so I kind of had to twist this, pull it out. There it is, the trap. It's full of water, like I said. I did spill a little bit, but not too bad. And that's what it looks like with everything taken apart. Stuff a rag in that pipe, because now you're going to get that sewage smell, aroma in there if you don't plug it. So plug it while you're have it apart, because that P-trap isn't in there anymore. Taking the rest of it apart so I can get those washers out. Typically you only have to tighten them by hand. If you get too tight, you can actually split those plastic washers. So working that out. Stuff is semi-flexible. I mean, it's going to take a lot of force to snap these pipes off. So there it is. I just think it's a lot easier to bring these into the store to make sure I get the right size the first time. You hate to have to guess it. You know, you think you know 1.5, but you might be surprised. Nelson one's 1 1/4. So it's always nice to hold the bag up to your parts that you're getting, or if you want to do your whole pipes, bring the pipes in there. So this is what it looks like all taken apart. I have my new washers to slip off the old ones. New ones should pop right on. These orange ones seem a lot softer, more flexible, hopefully make a better seal. Make sure they're facing the correct way, tapered down or towards the joint. So I fit these on all the pipes first. I think I ended up getting 4 of them. So it should be a pretty tight fit. And then when you bring in your nut down and tightening it, that's what makes the seal. And now it's assembly time. This is where it's important to try to remember how it was. So there, just like the old one came off. And this probably took me, I don't know, my tub was probably out of commission for a day and a half. So if you need a tub today, I mean, you're kind of having to call a plumber, but I'd rather save the 500 to 1,000 and do it myself, and then, you know, use that money for something you want to use it for, not giving it to someone else. Nowadays, plumbers, electricians, handymen, they just cost an arm and a leg. It's making me do a lot more around the house because I can't afford, obviously, to be paying people that kind of money to come in and do that stuff. So putting that P-trap down in there again with my new washer on there. Pushing that into the old pipe, making sure I don't push it too hard because it's really loose. When I push it in there, it's flexing. I don't want to pop out another joint somewhere further down the line underneath my floor, because that would really suck. So again, get it pretty tight, just hand tight. You don't want to try to strip anything or snap your new washer you just put on. And then trying to get everything lined up. Kind of have it loose right now. Kind of keep it loose so you can move the pipes up and down and get them fitting so they're not crooked. Because it'll seem like they have a good seal. It'll seem like the threads are lining up. But then when you're done, you kind of back off and you look at it and it's a little crooked. Well, if it looks crooked, it's probably going to leak. I had to take the shelving out of my closet here so I could get in there. But I wanted to be comfortable while I worked. So I'll get that lined up, and I figured out, whoops, screwed that up. So I have to take that pipe off again, put it in the other pipe before I push it in. Took a little finagling. But again, if I did this all the time, I'd probably be a lot quicker at it. Hopefully I don't have to do it ever again, but you never know. I already had to redo my whole bathroom upstairs because this about same problem happened to my vanity sink in this same bathroom. That I was washing my hands one day. I heard a bunch of water in the wall, and so I ran downstairs, and of course it was dripping all throughout my basement. It went between my walls all the way down into my basement. So had to open up my wall behind my vanity, pull that away, and of course it was a wastewater line that snapped in between the joists. I did call a plumber on that one, and they quoted me exactly $500 over the phone, and I went and bought literally $4 worth of pipe, the black ABS pipe, I believe it's called, and put that back together. And then I used the rest of that money to redo my whole bathroom upstairs. Took out my shower doors, painted the room, put a new granite countertop on, put on a new sink, new handles, redid the floor with the linoleum, and it cost me under $500 to redo my whole bathroom, much less just pay a plumber to fix a $5 pipe. But I know people argue, oh, they have insurance, and they have a car, and they have gas, and they have families. Well, guess what? So do I. So that's why I do a lot of the DIY stuff. And I want to show people how you can do it with the tools you have and not all the expensive stuff that plumbers have. I mean, this stuff you can comfortably do on your own. I left the panel off of this for 5 or 6 days. So when I took baths or showers, I could just walk around the corner, check it out, make sure it wasn't leaking before I could confidently close this panel back up and put my shelves back in the closet. But at least now I can sleep soundly knowing that water isn't constantly draining down every time I use my bath. So tighten up all of your pipes. Again, hand tight. I don't get a wrench in there and tighten them anymore. I just get them tight by hand. Again, making sure they're not crooked. And then grab them all, shake a little bit. They shouldn't be moving around. You shouldn't be able to move the pipe in and out of other pipes if that nut is making a good seal and you have it tight enough. And as you tighten some, other ones might loosen just because everything's kind of settling in. My house isn't extremely old. It was built in '99, and this is done in 2024. It's a 25-year-old house. I've had to redo some of the plumbing already. Like I said, I haven't been overly impressed. So I drained some water, and that pipe is leaking again. So obviously I didn't get that one tight enough. So I just tightened it up, shut the water off, turned it back on, back again, and now it's good. So again, keep the panel off until you're comfortable and confident that nothing's going to be leaking. So there we go. Thanks for watching. It's all done. Saved myself a bunch of money. Talk to you later.